Let it be silly or let it be wise. Howsoever sublime it be, it is always silly.
Did Baba ever say if it mattered when you prayed to him, if you prayed to him like out loud, or when you said arti, if you prayed out loud, or just to yourself, or
Nothing matters. What matters is not the tone, not the voice, not the pitch. What matters is the feeling that pours out.
what happens if
The stirring within is most important.
what happens if you don't feel it? I mean, should you just say arti even if you don't feel like saying it or feel
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't feel like it, also you continue with it in order to feel it. Or whatever you feel like, say it out. That is arti. Arti is not, anything. What is arti after all?
Whoops.
That which is.
What happened? Have to start again. I just noticed that my cassette is not moving even though it's picking up, so I have to start again. No problem at all.
See, this is of course a copyright material,
Save, sir.
Are you recording?
Yeah.
It's a copyright of Avtameva Perpetual Public Charitable Trust, and please note that this has not to be circulated because it is coming in the next volume, volume 3 of the Glimpses, this chapter. Caption of the chapter is First American to Invite Baba. I think it is justifiable here to make a small digression. The cabbie's formal yet warm greeting to Baba, "Welcome to America," brings to mind an event that happened 20 years earlier in England, when a clear-headed genius, an American, wholeheartedly invited Baba in 1931 to visit the States for the first time.
Who is that?
Thomas A. Watson was a colleague of the eminent scientist Alexander Graham Bell. He became quite wealthy from this work, but found it didn't satisfy him. So, in his 60s, he took up acting and painting. He visited England and traveled with a Shakespearean company, giving performances in rural areas. One of his proteges was Milo Shattuck, a Harvard graduate and a young poet. Watson helped finance his trip to England to study, and while there, Milo, or how do you pronounce it, Milo, M-I-L-O,
Milo.
went to a retreat in Devonshire. The retreat was conducted by Meredith Starr, who had recently returned from India after spending several months with Meher Baba at Toka near Ahmednagar. On Meredith's return, through the activities of this retreat, he was preparing to receive Meher Baba on his first visit to England. In September 1931, Meher Baba left India after a short stay in London, visited the Devonshire retreat where there was a group of people anxiously awaiting his arrival. Among them were the Watsons. The night prior to Baba's arrival, all, including Thomas Watson, were devotedly thinking about the master, Meher Baba. The next morning, when Thomas woke up, he found his pillow wet with tears, owing to a deep experience which had profoundly moved him while asleep. It left him enfolded in indescribable peace. In the morning, from the balcony of the retreat, Thomas was gazing at the countryside, wondering at the incredible awakening he had just experienced. Just then, Meher Baba came upstairs. He blessed Thomas by placing his hand on his head. He then patted him lightly on the back, and without saying anything, he went ahead. With Baba's touch, Thomas felt extremely blissful, and his heart could not contain the inner welling up of emotions. He began to sob like a child. Chanji, Baba's secretary then, who was still standing there, helped him to a room, which happened to be the retreat's library, and made him comfortable. For about 15 minutes, Thomas sat quietly, shedding tears of joy. Then, with a choked voice, he said to Chanji, "Sonny, for how long have you been with him?" Meaning Baba. "7 years," replied Chanji. With fatherly affection, he stroked Chanji's back and said, "Do you know what a blessing it is to live with the Master for such a long period?" "Yes, but it is His grace, not my efforts," answered Chanji. Thomas, with a hoarse voice, continued, "Today I am blessed I have met him. What a benediction! Now I am 78. May I tell you that during my life of intense spiritual search, this is the first time that I have met one who has divine love. And what a wonder that he can awaken this love in others too." "You are quite right," replied Chanji, who continued, "Blessed are they whose hearts are awakened to his love." Thomas felt quite at ease with Chanji and added, "Sonny, for about 40 years, I was a co-worker of Graham Bell. But those years did not answer my spiritual quest. So I developed an interest in the stage and in painting. However, since my childhood, I yearned for the love of God. This urge led me to purchase hundreds of books on philosophy and religion. These, to some extent, are responsible for bringing me here. The books provide food for my mind, but they don't move my heart. With Meher Baba's loving and tender touch, however, what I had gathered in my head has poured into my heart. Words seem inadequate to express what I feel." After a few minutes of silence, he continued, "I have a request. If it's not inconvenient to the Master, Meher Baba, I wish to sit quietly every day for a few minutes in his divine presence and meditate. I shall feel greatly indebted to you if you could convey my request to Baba." Later, Chanji narrated to Baba the talk he had had with Thomas in the library. Baba graciously agreed to this request. After some months before Baba's arrival, Meredith Starr had read a book of poems, Songs to Celebrate the Sun by Malcolm Slosh. He liked the poems very much and felt that Malcolm should know about Meher Baba and his mission. He wrote to Milo Shattuck in the States to contact Malcolm. Milo met Jean and Malcolm, who were overjoyed to hear about Meher Baba and his impending visit to England. In the course of conversation, Milo heard Jean tell about her mystical experiences. Milo mentioned these briefly in his reply to Meredith. Meredith received Baba's cable about his September visit to England. He took this opportunity to ask Jean to write down her spiritual experiences and mail them to him. He wished to relate them to the Master, which he did. Baba looked pleased and lovingly inquired more about Jean and Malcolm. The same day, Meredith mentioned Baba's interest in Jean and Malcolm to Thomas Watson. He already knew them, and being generous, he sent anonymous bank drafts to them towards their passage to England. The Sloshes were delighted, and they began to make preparations to visit England to be with the perfect Master Meher Baba. One day during his stay in the retreat, Baba, with the help of the alphabet board and a simple diagram, explained the theme of creation to Thomas. Baba's profound yet succinct explanation of evolution and the process of realization made a profound impression on Thomas. Greatly astonished, he said, "Baba, it's marvelous. A subject so profound requires volumes to expound upon. But you have very beautifully presented it to me within a few minutes. I feel that you could do so only because you have realized the truth of it yourself." After a little pause, he continued, "Baba, America is the country for you. You must pay a visit to the States. In case you decide to come, I extend to you a very cordial invitation on behalf of the American people." It was a spontaneous invitation, and Baba did not totally refuse it. He answered, "I will consider it and I will let you know." At the end of this interview, Baba conveyed his fond love to Thomas Watson and his wife and fixed the date of their departure to the States. In fact, even after reaching England, Baba had no plans to proceed to the States. But responsive as always to the love of his lovers, Baba abandoned his previously determined schedule. With no previous preparations, and without anyone personally knowing him in the States, except for Jean and Malcolm and the Watsons, he decided to lay the cable of his love by paying a visit to the Americas. Jean and Malcolm were informed of Baba's unexpected decision to visit the States. There was no need for them to sail to England to see Baba, as they were now not only going to meet him, but were to act as his hosts when he came to America. At the beginning of October, however, Baba sailed to Constantinople, where he stayed for 9 days. Then he went to Genoa and left from there for New York, which he reached on November 6, 1931. A day for rejoicing, especially for all Baba lovers in the States, the day when the avatar of the age set his foot for the first time on American soil. It seems fitting that Thomas A. Watson, who was the first person to hear words communicated through the telephone, was also the first one to invite the silent word, the Word made flesh, to America, a symbolic coincidence. Jai Baba.
And there was a little coincidence to this, see, I was not sure whether he was the first one to just hear the word. So I had already written a draft of this, but I was not sure whether he was the first one to hear. Then coincidentally it so happened that Peter Booth, who comes here, he used to learn Persian from Aloba. And from Aloba he got maybe second or third, I don't know, the Persian reader in which the lessons were there, and that was the lesson for him to read on that day was about Thomas Watson and Abraham Bell. So it was from that, so it was in a way clarified and corroborated that he was the one to...
Yes, yes.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Thank you.
And all this material is copyrighted by Avatar Meher Baba Perpetual Public Charitable Trust.
And it will appear in volume 3 of the Glimpses, and the author is Balnath, to remember. It is his research that has made us get this information today.
Thanks.
I think it will be a good thing there.
So how shall I bring it to them? He taped it.
I recorded it, yes.
Yes, brother?
I was just wondering, could you say what was Baba like personally, like as a person to be with and spend your time with? Because whenever you read something, one of the books or something, it's saying for his work he did this, and then he saw so many masses of people this day, and he went there that day. But what kind of person was he like to travel with or to spend time with?
Well, my spontaneous answer would be best of the companion. Best companion that one could ever have. A great friend, dear friend I should say, best of the companion, very humorous, easy to pass time with him. Time would fly in his company, so to say. One would not feel as if one is what you call lazying with time, because it was humming with activities all around him. And one would feel absolutely, of course those who lived with him would feel absolutely at home with him. There was no such thing as him being God-man or something. He's sitting on a raised pedestal or a dais or something like that, or on a throne in the skies or nothing of the sort. Because he had come down to our level and made us feel absolutely at home with him.
Right there.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Eruch.
That's all. I said, well, because they're angry, they have to raise their voice, Baba.
Baba's asking you.
Yeah, Baba is asking me as to why do people shout at one another when they're angry? So I said, it's natural for them. They lose their temper and they shout. But why should they shout? Persons are nearby, you see. There's no distance. Why, when person is close to you, you don't shout at the person. Why do you shout? So we lose our temper, we are not in our moods, and so forth. We tried to explain, but he was not satisfied at all. He says, no, it's not because of that you shout. Then he gave us the explanation. He says that, when a person gets angry on another person, that other person is far removed from his heart. And in order to bridge that gulf, you raise your voice. And the further he is removed away, the louder is the tone. And then he said, oh, but have you all noticed people, you see, who love each other? Two persons. They are in love with each other. And do they shout? No. Why? Because they are close together in their hearts. So there is nothing. So what they speak softly. But then when they are deeply in love with each other, then only whisper. Then still further deep in love, nothing is to be said. They just gaze at each other. And then he says, no need. This total silence. Do you know how much I love you? How close I am to you? I am closer to you than your very breath. What need have I for speech? He didn't tell you that, Michael? So this is what he told us about. See, from where he brings, you see, getting angry on one another and shouting and then not seeing and not speaking and all that.
That's why I suppose I was so struck by being silent.
And he was not only silent of speech, Faith. In everything he was silent. In giving out his name, in giving out his message, in his activities, throughout his ministry, in all that he did. Those who were close to him observed, but it was all in silence. How many people he must have met and how much help he must have rendered to them. There are fine stories. Have you heard those stories?
Some of them I'm sure I haven't heard them all. I'd like to hear them. Don't hesitate.
He tells me one day, one Irani comes to Baba. You know Iranis? You know
The
Irani.
family, you mean Irani?
Not family,
Sorry.
but some Irani means from Iran.
Oh, sorry, yes.
A Zoroastrian,
Yes, I understand.
Irani, who has come from Iran, who has a surname by name Irani,
Oh, yes.
just as Baba's surname is Merwan Shaya Irani. He has come from Iran. That's
Yeah.
why he
I
has
see,
this.
I
You see,
see.
that's how it is.
That's
Yeah.
yes.
There are either Zoroastrians amongst Iranis or Muslims coming from Iran. So an Irani, a Zoroastrian, had come to Baba at Mehrabad in the early 30s, late 30s. I think it must be, early 40s. We had returned from our blue bus trip. So he came and all of a sudden he comes there and he pays his respects to Baba, salutes him and all that. And from his pocket he takes out and places at the feet of Baba. Baba says, what is it? Baba had never touched money, So I said, what is it? What is it? He said, it was in a cover. So says Baba, it is to be used by you for things that are here. This is, what does it mean? Money. Money. Is it money? So Baba says, yes. How much? 500 rupees, Baba, for you. So Baba says, you keep it. You keep it from me. Means as if Baba is giving it back as his prasad. It means as his gift. Says, no Baba, I brought it for you, it's from me, it's with my love and all that. Baba says, yeah, I accept it with love, you keep it with me. Yeah. So he didn't do it. So there was little argument, you see. He wouldn't want to have it. So Baba, I was there, interpreting his board. Baba says, you take it, you keep it with you. He tells me to keep it with you. And he tells me that you keep it with you till such time you find somebody who needs it. And you will know it in your heart who will need it. And see how silently he works now. Listen to this story. So it's a responsibility with Baba to carry money. We don't carry money with us, you see, because we don't have any room, and 500 rupees of that time is 5,000 rupees of now, you see, for us. So it was a great responsibility. All the time I had to carry, because I did not know when will I know in my heart that somebody needs it, you see. So it's day and night I had to keep it with me. It's a terrible headache and responsibility. So I carried it with me. A month passed by. 2 months passed by. It's there. One day Baba has sent me to Pune. It was summertime and it's fairly hot. temperatures range from 110, 12 degrees like that, and it goes to 16 also sometimes. So I was in Pune, and of course we don't have much money in our hands. We could afford a glass of sugarcane juice. We can't afford syrups and aerated waters and cold drinks and ice cream. So sugarcane juice is very cheap. You see. Here we grow sugarcane, but put little ice in it. Yeah. So there are stalls of sugarcane juices in summertime in Pune. So, well, I went there because I was thirsty and at the time I needed something. So I went and sat there and called for a glass of sugarcane juice. So the man gave me. I was sipping. And just then at the counter, it's a small place, hardly as big as half the size of this room. So at the counter, there is a conversation taking place between the person who had just had a sugarcane and the owner of the shop. And the conversation revolves around how a just person is treated in the world, that there is no compassion from the Lord also. It seems that Lord has shut his eyes and ears. What an injustice that is being done to a straight man, and so forth. So, it means this is how it all started, that there is no justice in the world now. Lord has shut his eyes and ears towards all this and that. And I'm hearing, in vernacular, I'm hearing that. And then they bring into the topic of the great injustice done to a very good person, very straight person, and how from a very responsible position in the municipality, he has been demoted to an ordinary clerk collecting taxes at the outposts. We call it octroi. Do you all have octroys there? Terminal taxes, taxes at the entry and exit of the city. Yes. So we call it octroi. So how he has been demoted just because he was straight and honest. And so then they started saying how he wouldn't want to accept any graft and bribes and all this, and how then he was crushed by his superiors and subordinates and this and that. They wanted to get rid of this honest man from their office because they can't enjoy life, you see. So that's how he was demoted. Yeah. I'm hearing all this. Huh? Yeah, my appetite is stirred there, you know. So yeah, that sounds good. And see what plight now. Their children have no clothes. They have nothing to eat in their house. This is what these people are arguing, you see, about how injustice is done to a just man, and so forth and so on. So the man after, amongst Indians here, Indians speak loudly. You'll notice that. We speak loudly amongst ourselves. So then the man left the counter and went away after paying the money. So I approached this man. I had to pay the money also. I had finished a glass. I said, will you please tell me the name and address of this family? I'm interested in it. He says, how come that you are interested in this? You are a stranger. Means I am not a Hindu. I am a Parsi, Zoroastrian. How come you are interested? Do you know these people? I said, no, I don't know. That's the reason why I want to. But what makes you interested in it? So I said, look, my elder brother has sent me here we can't even give out the name of Baba. That's how he did silently. That's what I'm trying to bring home. My elder brother, has asked me to keep a certain gift to be given to a person who deserves it. My heart would tell me. And while overhearing the conversation, I'm carrying this burden with me all the time, day and night. And hearing this conversation, my heart yearns to meet that family and give the gift. So he was very happy. He said, yes, I'll give you. And he gave me the address. Same day, I took the road transport bus and went to that faraway station. It was 40 miles from there. I went there. And those years, our dress was not this. We wore like the Britishers wore. You see, it was still British Raj with us. And solar hat, because Baba always wanted us to protect ourselves from sun, and khaki dress. Simple khaki trousers and half sleeves khaki shirt. We looked like military people.
Like the driver carriage?
Pardon?
Like the driver dresses?
Yeah, like the driver dresses, yeah. But he has that full sleeve, but
Yeah,
I,
he has full
yeah.
sleeve,
So I went to that place and searched the address. It was a township. I went there. And it was a simple place, simple little house. You may call it a hovel, you may call it. So I just went there and just knocked at the door. It didn't lock properly, close properly also. So some lady came and opened it. Looked at me and was terrified, being a military man or something like that. So I said, where is the man of the house? So he said, please don't harass us anymore. We have done nothing in the world. Please don't. And she started crying. I said, look, I have not come here to harass him. On the contrary, my elder brother has sent me to the door here for a little help to him. No, but don't help him. We won't be able to repay the interest also. We can't do anything. We are helpless. I said, we don't want the interest. My elder brother doesn't need any interest, doesn't want to help him that way. It's just a sheer gift. All that we want is please cooperate with us, that we want to give something and accept something that we want to give. So what had happened, Baba had sent me, on that day he had washed my feet. And he had bowed down at my feet, put his forehead there. So I had to do the same thing there. But that man should be agreeable, You follow? I could have given it to the wife. But he had told me that the head of the man had to be done to that person. And we had seen Baba doing that all the time. So I said, I'll just let be, pardon.
Now, I don't understand something. So did Baba indicate to you that day that you would find someone that day?
Yeah.
Oh,
That my heart will tell me to whom it should go to.
on that particular day?
When he had given me that amount.
But, so that was a
wasn't
couple
the same
months
day.
earlier.
2 months ago.
I see. But then that particular day he bowed down at your
Yeah,
feet.
while doing that, he washed my feet with a little pot of water that is always by his side on the floor. Yeah, washed it and then put his head. No. That's how it always be. And then he gave me that envelope. Take it. Yeah, that's how it is. I kept it in my pocket and finished. So I said, when will he come? Where is he? So then she said that, well, she again corroborated the story. That he was working in the municipal office here and he was a straight man. But now something has happened we don't know. Our Lord has forsaken us. I said, Lord will never forsake you. How can Lord forsake? He tests us. He tries us. We boast of our love for him. And he wants to find out, means that we should find out to what extent we can boast of our love for him. Yeah. And so I comforted her. I said, tell me, when will he be back? She says, he won't be back now because he's posted in far off place. He has to walk the distance and it will be about 8 o'clock in the evening when he'll return. So I said, I'll have to go back. I can't stay. Would you please do one thing when he comes? Tell him not to go out and stay because I'll be specially paying a visit. And I tell you sincerely that my elder brother has sent me with a gift for him. Please tell him to wait for me. Will you do that? So I will tell. And in the meantime, the daughters came out. They were grown up, teenagers and all. I saw them. They were very fair complexion, very beautiful looking, but not close. I could see their bare breasts also. They were so tattered that they had tied their knots there on the saris and all that. Nothing of the sort. Sheer poverty, and all the more my heart went out. Yeah, this is the house that Baba had told me. So I was very happy. I went back home and I came the next day. He was there. I greeted him and says, look, if there is anything that you are giving me on loan or anything, please don't do that. Because I am unable to pay any more interest. I can't repay even what you give me on loan. I don't want anything. We'll die. We don't want anything of that sort. No. I explained to him now. Then I said, will you please get me some little water? So he brought the water. So I said, please stand there. I poured water on his feet and then bowed down. He said, what are you doing? I said, please, hold on. And then I bowed down and gave the packet. I said, please accept this gift of God and oblige him. Oblige him means God. That's how Baba would do it for everything. So he accepted it. And he took me aside and he said, "What do you mean by this? Who has given you this?" I said, my elder brother. Somewhere, where? I can't name him also, can't give the exact name. Bombay side, he has a big business, So he does.
Big business.
So, and he tells me that day, this is what he told me, most touching point is that he says, "Sir, I have no objection now in opening my heart. It's an act of God, no doubt, what has happened today. Because last evening, when I was returning from my post, I had determined to commit suicide. I said, next morning I'm not going back to the post. And as soon as I came here, my wife told me that a man had come knocking at the door, wanting to give a gift. And she had promised you that I must be present here, so I just kept myself, wanting to know what it is all about. So had this gift not come from God, you wouldn't have found me." That's what he said. Yeah. So this is how it was. I said, yes, it is from God. God always inspires us. We can do nothing. You have accepted His gift. I have been a messenger to give the gift. I have not given anything to you. It is He only gives. So every time when we had to do all these things, you see, there are many such stories. His name was not to be mentioned. Even now, when he goes there to Aurang Khuldabad, he was telling about his researches, at the Sufi centers and all that, where there are 1400 people lying there. Mausoleums are there, where they are buried. So the atmosphere is surcharged, it's there. So there also Baba would go there, and after Baba dropped his body, they recognized me and they asked, "Where is your brother?" Because Baba would go very frequently. And he says, "Well, he has passed away." Oh, he says, "He was such a great philanthropist. He loved us so much. So often he would come over here and give us grain and sweets and all that. He was a great businessman. No doubt he must be flourishing. So he was helping us." They all know him as a good person. Yeah. Nothing to do with who Baba is. Yeah. He was not a Baba. He was a good man. Yeah, good man.
It's always been sort of perplexing to me in the same line how, on the one hand, Baba could have been so well known in India.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
Yeah.
he was in the newspapers and everything.
Yeah.
And at the same time, so many people didn't know him at all.
So many in Ahmednagar they don't know.
Yeah.
Ahmednagar they don't know.
Yeah.
Nobody knows like that. Only whom he wants,
Yeah.
he makes himself known to them. Adversely or favorably, only when he wants.
Adversely or favorably.
Yeah.
So, just a sort of instruction, do you think? I mean, can I ask you something?
No, what happens is now, this is what had happened in the early years. Yeah.
Yes.
Later on he went out.
Yes.
That's how we come to know there are thousands upon thousands of people who know now Baba.
Yes.
I know what you are.
So it's all right.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. What happened is that I'm trying to trace the history, you see, how he not only observed silence,
Yeah.
but withdrew himself and kept back his name from going to the public too. In the early years, we were ordered not to give out his name also. We would be traveling together. He would be there. He would remain incognito. He would put scarves on and have headgears, you see, of different cities and townships where the majority of people are Mohammedans. He'll wear a Mohammedan fez cap and all that. Hindus, Britishers' hat or Parsi caps or anything. Where there are no Parsi, he will wear Parsi cap. It's like that. So he would camouflage himself. He would hide his personality. He would hide himself. But how can one hide? The divinity was there. Yeah, he can hide himself. His name he can hide, but how can he hide himself? So time and again there will be many queries. You see, people would just look at him. Who could he be? You see, and then stop there, look, and then go away. We would notice all that. Even in hubbubs on railway platforms, station platforms, in the streets, people will be going busy with themselves, and then they'll go away. Who could he be? It's like that. So quite often there will be requests like this. You see, we'll be sitting, or in train compartments while traveling, or in buses, because he was right in the midst of people. He didn't keep himself inside a cave or anything else. No. He was right in the middle of people, humanity, you see. And yet not known, incognito. So people will say, is he Meher Baba? And the person is still there. He'll ask us, because they know that they didn't dare to ask him. So naturally we can't say no, and we can't say yes. So we developed a habit of saying, what did you say? What? Meher Baba? What? And what and what? That's all. We can't say no, we can't say yes. So they'll say that, well, this one doesn't know the even name of Meher Baba, so he cannot be Meher Baba. So that's how it is. That's how we got rid of these people who would ask us. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So that's how it is. About his silence, one day we came a very humorous episode. We are sitting on a platform. There are stations that have platforms covered, big stations, and there are flag stations. Do you all have flag stations?
Sort of halts, we would say.
Yeah,
halts.
only when the red flag is put, then the train comes to a stop. They are not scheduled stops. So that is what we mean by flag stations. Flag is put and then the train, from a distance you see, and they slow down and stop. Only when big Saabs, you see, the Britishers would come, they had to alight there, so special stops would be created because of administering the country naturally. Yeah. So they were known as flag stations. So we used to take advantage of these flag stops, you see, because we knew which stations are flag stations and all, because musts would be found only in these places. Well, in cities too, but we had to also have, we had to alight at such stations where there were no regular stops. So one day we were at a flag station. We got down at the flag station and we had to contact a must. You know must?
Yes, yes.
You have read by this time.
Read.
Yeah. Have you seen the Wayfarers?
No.
You haven't seen the book? You haven't seen the
No.
pictures of
No,
these?
no, I haven't.
Oh, you should
I
see
will.
it, yeah. I think you all must be having in your library a copy of Wayfarers.
I'll buy one.
Yeah. No, don't buy, see it.
All right.
At least see it, yeah. Buy if you want it. So, or here in Mehrabad there is a library. You can see it there. So, after contacting the must, we were seated. And open. Sitting means what? We didn't have any... it's a platform, just a platform means a platform. Yeah. No benches or anything. So flag station, nothing, because passengers don't alight or anything. It's the officers who alight and go to their places. And those were the years when there were no cars also. There were only those coaches, bullock carts.
Yes.
Yeah. Or a horse would come for the great Britisher, you see, you'll ride astride the horse and go away. Yeah, it was, that was I'm giving you the idea, picture of the time. So, we were sitting, you see, on our small bedding rolls we had bedding rolls. We didn't have any, sleeping bags or anything, which you all call sleeping bags now. We had rolls. We had to roll all this and tie string. So each one would sit on his own. Instead of, having a patch on at the other end, it is better to sit on something that at least our trousers are kept safe, you see.
Like a swag.
Not sweat, earth. Platform.
No.
Yeah.
Expression.
Yeah.
Like a swag.
It's like a swag, yeah. I thought sweat, I overheard sweat. So what happened is, while we are sitting all like that, Baba is there and we are all sitting. Nothing to do, we are waiting for another train to come. So 2 or 3 persons are standing and looking at us, because we presented a very peculiar picture. Our picture was neither a Mohammedan, nor a Hindu, nor a Christian, nothing of the sort. Who are these people? Yeah. So they would stand and we would just stand and look at them and all. We would chat among ourselves. Seeing the 3 or 2 of them there, 3 or 4 others joined them. And they, you know how a crowd gathers, you see. So we were all in the habit of that, nothing strange to us. It was simple. So a huge crowd gathered and we are sitting. Out of that, one woman tells, old woman, very old, she was with a stick in her. So she was standing there and I was sitting here. Baba is here somewhere. So she says, pointing at Baba, how handsome, how beautiful this young man is. Baba was young at that time. So he doesn't speak. So he says, no, he doesn't speak. He says, you know, you have come at the right place. You know the tomb there, it's nearby, it's about half a mile from here. If you go on the railway track, you go there. Why you are whiling your time? Take him there. Yeah, and pray to the mausoleum there, the one who is buried over there. He will be gracious enough to give him speech now. See how young he is. Yeah, he's such a good person. And you all don't take care of him properly. Yeah, take him there. So we had to pacify her. She says, yeah, we will, but now we are in a hurry. But when will you all come here? Now that you all are here, take him there. He will do it for you. He will make him speak. We said, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, we have understood. Where is he? What's his name? Trying to express ourselves concern and trying to make her feel that, well, we are taking cognizance of what she says. So she gave us the name, address and all that. I said, all right. What can we say? So it took many years for me to reconcile the fact. My mind was the one that always obstructed. And it's always with our minds. It's nothing but a picture I'm giving of you all. It's the same thing. Our minds always react. Mind is such a mind. There's no end to it, you know. It always, as soon as the mind begins to believe, it steps into disbelief.
Who is it that believes? The man? It is not the mind that believes.
It is the mind that believes. It's the mind that disbelieves. We are nothing but puppets of the mind. It's because of the mind we are. Otherwise there is no existence for us. Then who are we, Baba would say, you see. We are nothing but his own blemishes on him.